Hey guys, it's Tori, and today I'm going to be doing my August Books to Books TBR. It took me too many times to say that. I kept stumbling over my words, but anyway. So I actually don't have a lot of housekeeping things to worry about this month, other than I just want to mention that I'm not participating in any readathons this month. I mean, maybe there will be a week-long one that I end up doing, but I have spent 3 months in a row participating in readathons, and being someone who doesn't really read that many books within a month, I am feeling that push to read a lot right now. So I just want to take a month, especially as I'll be starting up school again at the end of the month, to just relax and enjoy some good books. So anyway, let's just get into the rounds. Okay, so we're going to start by putting out the two that I have plans as far as my goals go to read this month, whether that be buddy reading or just really wanting to make sure I get to them this month. So first of all, we have North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell, and then He Knew He Was Right by Anthony Trollope. Both of these North and South I'm buddy reading, and He Knew He Was Right I at least want to start. Even if I don't finish it, I'd like to at least read half of it this month. It is a pretty long one. But my goal with both of these are the last two on my list of books to read before Victober. So both of them I'd like to really get a start on, and this one, like I said, I'm buddy reading, so definitely will be reading that anyway. And again, want to read at least half of that. So since we already have two classics out, we'll get two more classics. So we have A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens and In Praise of Folly by Erasmus. So those are some fun ones, both really short, so I feel like that would be doable if I do get either of those. Then for non-classics, we have The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. This is actually a recent purchase that I'm so excited about, so I'm totally fine with that one. The Forgotten Kingdom, which is the second book in the Lost Queen series, which I really would like to get to. Us Against You, which I actually really need to get to. I actually totally forgot about this. I should have put this up anyway. But this is my choice for the BookTube spin, this last one, so I do need to get to this, I think by the end of September at the latest, but if I can get it this month, that's great. Also just realized my reds are upside down. I apologize for that. Anyway, and then we have The Paper Daughters of Chinatown, which I actually got a few months ago and didn't end up getting to, so it would be really nice if I can get to that one as well. I do think I'm going to get rid of A Tale of Two Cities just because I have both of these Victorian novels that I really need to get to, and I don't know if I want to be reading Victorian all month when I'm going to be doing that in October already. So instead of that, let's see if we end up getting another Victorian or not. A Group of Noble Dames, that is another Victorian, but it's very, very short. It's just a collection of short stories by Thomas Hardy. So I guess I'm more open to that, but I still hopefully won't end up getting that one. But anyway, let's choose our first green card, Sibling Picks. So this means that I'm going to need to ask my siblings to pick something, which I'm not sure what they are going to pick, so I'm going to have to go ask one of them really fast. Okay, sorry if the camera angle is kind of different. I am using my phone, so I had to use it to call a sibling. I was going to screen record it, but I honestly did not prepare myself for this card, so I was trying to figure out how best to do it, so I decided to just quickly FaceTime my brother, and he ended up picking North and South just because it sounded cool, intriguing. Apparently to him, he thought it sounded like some sort of war book, which it very much is not. But, I guess you could call it a societal war, as it discusses the Industrial Revolution and things like that. But anyway, this is perfect because it is a buddy read. I also think I had to just read them off because he was driving, so it might have just been one of the only ones he remembered me even saying. So anyway, but we got that, so yay. Okay, so the first prompt I got was a sibling pick, and honestly, you didn't see this because it was all off camera, but I was very uncertain about how I wanted to go about that prompt. I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk to them later. I didn't know if I would even get a hold of them, especially because a couple of them were at camp. Another one is very far away, so I definitely couldn't do that with him. I couldn't just just call him up. Not just because he's far away, but he's also serving a mission right now, which means I can't just call him. So that was not an option. So I only had one brother who was available, and I was like, hopefully he answers, and he did. So luckily we were able to get an answer for this while I was sitting there, and he ended up picking North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell, which is perfect because I'm buddy reading this with Connor Stompanato, and I am very, very excited. This book has been compared to Pride and Prejudice, but set in a later time period and dealing more with industrialization, which I find very fascinating. I've heard great things about it. I have very recently begun to fall in love with Elizabeth Gaskell, so I'm very excited to pick this up. I did really love Wives and Daughters and enjoyed Ruth quite a bit last year, so I'm excited to pick this up, and hopefully Connor and I will both enjoy it. So we will see how it goes. Actually, North and South is also on my books to read before Victober, so that also worked out very perfectly for that. Okay, then to replace North and South, we have Metamorphoses by Ovid, and gonna be honest, I think I'm automatically gonna get rid of that because I'm not in the mood for that. Honestly, In Praise of Folly, I'm not super in the mood for either, but I'm more in the mood for that than Metamorphoses. So let's try again. Oh, a reread. Okay, so for a reread for a classic, I need to think about this for a second. Oh, you know what? I think I might reread Peter Pan because it's just been a while and it's one that I think is really sweet. It will be a quick read. And yeah, I just think it would be fun. So reread as Peter Pan on this round, and let's see what our next green card is. A classic! So I can pick any of these, and I'm going to do He Knew He Was Right, since I really want to at least start that this month. So that works out just marvelously. Okay, and then the next book we chose was He Knew He Was Right by Anthony Trollope, which is another book on my books to read before Victober TBR, and it's humongous. It's over 800 pages. So like I said in the clips for the game, I don't think I'll necessarily finish this. If I do, awesome. But I want to at least get a good halfway through it at least, because I really want to make sure I finish this by halfway through September at the latest. So I'm glad I was able to get this. I actually have already started this. I read the first like 20 pages and already sucked me in. I don't know, I haven't put on Goodreads that I'm currently reading it because it was more just, I was in a mood for a Victorian novel, and so I was like, I'll just pick this up and get started on it since it's so long. May as well take the opportunity to read a few pages of it so that I can start making my way through. It is really good so far, and hopefully I can reach my goal and finish this before halfway through September so that I have a couple weeks before Victober to read non-Victorian literature so that I'm ready for Victober when that comes around. But anyway, yes, very, very excited about this. This, as far as I know, in fact, the only thing I know is that it's about a married couple who is struggling. The husband's kind of jealous of the wife because he thinks something might be going on with this old friend of her family's. And actually, that has already been introduced within the first 20 pages. And in this 800-page book, I'm assuming that there's going to be a lot more going on with this, that it's not going to be just that, because it did come up very quickly for how long this is. I know that this is Katie from Books and Things, one of her favorite Anthony Trollope, so I'm just very, very excited to give it a try. Okay, so replacing that one, we have the Canterbury Tales. Wow, all these medieval literature pieces that I'm not sure I want to read. I think between these two, I'm going to say I'm going to get rid of In Praise of Folly because I'm not super in the mood for that sort of a book right now. Canterbury Tales I'm not super in the mood for either, but more so. And I actually think I'm going to replace, instead of replacing it with another classic, I think I'm going to get a non-classic just because I already have those two pretty big, decently sized classics. I think I want some non-classics more. So we have Road to Rosewood, which is actually by a friend of mine, so that will be fun. And our final green card for the month is magic, so something to do with magic. So that will be probably this is the only one. Let me see Yep, I think The Forgotten Kingdom is the only one on here that is magical, so we will read that. And last, finally, we were able to break away from the classics a little bit and get The Forgotten Kingdom by Signe Pike. This is a sequel to The Lost Queen by Signe Pike, and this series is actually following the twin sister of the man who many believe went on to inspire the legend of Merlin. And so it's kind of, in a way, a retelling of King Arthur, but not really, because it's more focused on this twin sister who actually existed. The first book, like I said, is called The Lost Queen, and she's actually known in history as the Lost Queen, who ruled the Forgotten Kingdom. So it's very real people, but it has connections to the Arthurian legend, and so it's playing around with that. It also has some magical elements, so it's kind of fantasy. It's not really like historical fiction totally, but it does have a lot of historical fiction things about it, and then, yeah, the fantasy aspects, and it's really fun. It's definitely more of a slow burn story. It's a slower build, very character driven, at least the first one was, so we'll see how this sequel goes. It's not nearly as long as the first one, I don't think, and I flew through the first one, so I'm excited to read this. Hopefully I can get to it this month with He Knew He Was Right and how long that is, and then North and South is also decently long. I mean, I'm planning on reading it across 2 weeks, like breaking it up with Connor, so that will probably help, but it still is longer. And then I have another book that was not in my Books to Books TBR that I'm going to mention in a second that is also really long. I mean, I've read half of it, but it is still a chunky one. So anyway, we'll see if I get to this. I hope I can. We'll see. But like I said, I am starting school at the end of the month as well, so that's gonna have an impact on what I'm able to do, especially just like getting prepared and stuff. So anyway, moving into a couple books that were not in my Books to Books TBR, but I would like to try to get to this month. If I don't, not the end of the world. I can always do them in September, but I did want to mention them here because I will try to get to these. So first of all, we have The Sunne and Splendour by Sharon K. Penman, and this is a book I did read about half, a little less than half, I guess, of in June, and then I was just feeling a little overwhelmed, so I put a pause on it for a while, and I think I'm ready to come back to it. I actually have read a little bit of it already in the month of July, like literally a few pages, so not like very much at all, but I'm trying to get back into reading it, and I really want to. This story, if you don't know, follows King Richard III throughout his life, essentially, and it's kind of the staple historical fiction for Richard III fans, so I'm very excited to be finally getting to it, and hopefully I will finish it this month. My goal is to either finish this month or He Knew He Was Right, depending on what my mood is. So if I finish this, I want to read at least half of He Knew He Was Right. If I could finish them both, that would be astounding, but I'm not going to put that pressure on myself because I know myself, and I know I'm not a very fast reader. So if I can at least finish this and then read half of He Knew He Was Right, I will feel good about what I am doing. So anyway, this is probably one I'll be working on alongside North and South, since I'm only reading a few chapters of North and South a day, and then to have this as kind of a breakup, like something different, I guess, to read during those 2 weeks will be really great. And the last book I want to mention is one that actually was in my pile of possibilities for Books to Books TBR, but I didn't get it, and it's one that's pretty low priority, so I'm definitely gonna prioritize the other 4 books I mentioned this month, so the chances of me getting to this one are pretty slim, especially with how large a couple of those are. But I did want to mention it just in case I find a chance to at least start it by the end of the month or something. If I don't read it this month, I will read it in September though, and that is Us Against You by Fredrik Backman. This is the sequel to Beartown, and it is a wonderful, wonderful story that just brings out all the emotions. If you don't know, Beartown follows a small town, Beartown, where they are obsessed with hockey, and they have a team that's actually doing really well, that they feel like very well might put them on the map. Their economy is really struggling, so this is like a big deal for their town, and then one night something happens with one of the team members, one of the star players on this team, and we are able to see the small town politics involved and a lot of the heartbreaking things that go on because of this event. and it's a really powerful, difficult read for sure. This is the sequel, like I said, and I really am excited to get to it. The reason why I'm mentioning this book specifically is because this was actually the pick for the BookTube spin that is hosted by Rick McDonnell, and this was, like I said, the one that got chosen for me. So it is one that I need to read by the end of September, I believe is the cutoff, although technically, because of the way he has it set up, like, you're supposed to read it by like the end of September, for example, but he doesn't do the next spin until the end of October. So really you kind of can go into October a little bit if you want to, because let's be honest, it's not gonna take you a month to put together a list of 20 books you wanna read. So anyway, I would like to get to this at least by September if I don't get to it this month, which chances are very slim that I will get to this by the end of this month, because like I said, got some chunky reads. So anyway, but I do want to mention it just in case I do get to it. And that is everything. This is probably the shortest books to books TBR I've ever done, so that's exciting. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them, if you want to read any of them, and why. I would love to know. Again, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you would like to, and I will see you next time. Bye!